Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to RVDaydream. And it's definitely warmer today. 14 degrees more than yesterday. Yeehaw.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
So yesterday we were in the 40s. So anyways, it's already 53 and it's only 9 a.m. So good news there. We're only going to get to maybe 70 today, but still, it was 40 the other day. And the wind was blowing, it was rainy. It was just a bad day. It was, I'm telling you, it felt like fall. That's what I was saying at the end of the video when I got the tires, that video I just shot. Yeah, so I got some stuff to do today, got some stuff in the mail, got some other stuff in the mail. I'll put a link down below. You know, I want to say that all the time, guys. I know some people get tired of hearing it. I know I get tired of saying it, but you know what else I get tired of? People saying, where can I buy that? So that's the other thing. Well, that guy's loaded. Look at that. Yep. That's called overloaded. He was pulling a wheelie with his dually, or with his diesel. So, anyways, what are these? These are an assortment of bump stops. That's all they are. There's square ones that are one size. There's square ones that are a little bit smaller. There are a whole bunch of round ones. And it comes from a viewer that suggested this. And I can't remember who it is. I'm so sorry. If you're watching this video, step up. Say, hey, that was me. It's a brilliant idea. I don't know why I didn't think of it. Probably because I'm not that smart. Got a whirly gig out there. Whirly bird. Oh, what that thing is. It's not Lifelite, but it is a higher powered one. Hard telling. Okay, so Heidi took her car today because I got to do some work on the truck. I got to put the GPS in it. I definitely want the GPS mount back where it was. That is one thing. Oh, the grass is all wet. So you guys know how it is whenever I'm doing this slide in and out. I've talked about it in the past. And for whatever reason, the slide sometimes doesn't make the seal flip. And it's because the seal is so slippery, which I need to clean it quite a bit. We got pollen alerts here that are pretty high. But, I mean, I can hardly grab it. You can see there. It's just slippery. So what happens is whenever it's coming out, this thing will tuck in, will stay tucked in. I don't know how else to describe it. So a guy told me, again, one of our subscribers or viewers, he said, yeah, put the bump stops, put a bump stop on there. That's what this is. And that way when it comes out, it'll catch on the lip and help it flip in the opposite direction. So I need to put one, maybe two. I'll put one here and maybe one here, I think. And then same up there, I need to put a couple, because it's like clockwork. That thing, when the slide comes out, it does not, it just doesn't flip the seal. So hopefully the bump stop does that. Run, buddy, run. Heidi will be ticked off if that gets in the trailer. She's not a spider person. Well, the whole garage smells like rubber. Smells like a tire factory. I can't remember who made the comment on the tires. They'd asked about them. Oh, yeah. Somebody said, hey, that's the same size that goes on my Jeep. You know, what was the price? These are trailer tires. These are not, I mean, I'm sure there's markings all over. It says not for, you know, automobile use and all that other stuff. And then somebody had said they had Goodyear Endurance tires and it had a blowout, which, you know, tires can have a blowout. I mean, that's all there is to it. But he said that he runs the Michelin truck tires. I know that these tires are engineered for trailers. I know that they are set up 100% for trailers. I don't know if truck tires work very well on trailers. I heard people have good results with them. You would think that trailer tires or truck tires would be okay, as long as there's enough ply to the sidewall, because that's one thing that automobile tires are really good at, or I should say automobiles are good at that trailers aren't, and that is the cars steer very nicely around corners, and the back tires follow very nicely the vehicle. As far as side load, capabilities, vehicles don't really see a lot of roll under force. It just doesn't happen. Trailers see that all the time. Anytime you make a sharp turn, or any kind of a turn really, but mainly a sharp turn, you've got tire scrub. You've got tires that are they're not turning and following the trailer. They're being drugged by the tow vehicle to point the trailer in another direction. So you have to have good, strong sidewalls, and I know these have that. And I know that some automobile tires have pretty good sidewalls also. Again, though, they're engineered completely different. They should be okay. It's just, I don't know how a warranty would happen if you had a problem with a blowout on a vehicle tire that you put on your trailer. If you went out and bought brand new tires from wherever, and they were truck tires, which a lot of people refer to truck tires, and that's because truck tires have a stronger, stiffer sidewall. They have more plies in them, and like I said, that's what all these trailer tires do. But whenever you have a blowout, I mean, how do you take that back to the dealer and say, yeah, my trailer tire blew out, and they look at it and say, well, this is a truck tire. I just don't know. I don't know how that works. So we'll go this route first. Trust me, I have a definite tire that I have in mind that I would use for our trailer if I had problems with these tires. And that's the same tire that's on my son's van, Michelin Defender LTX MS2. What do you think my son has that on his van? That's because my 97 F250 HD two-wheel drive had Michelin LTX MS2s on there. And why did I put those on my 97 F250? Because my previous truck, my 95 F150, had Michelin Defender LTX MS2s. They all have the same, they're exceptional tires. There is nothing wrong with those tires being used on a vehicle, especially trucks, at all, on any level. So if anybody's shopping for tires, and I'll be honest with you, I've actually considered putting them on this truck, even though this has brand new Goodyear Wranglers. Even though my old truck had brand new Goodyear Wranglers. I don't like the noise that comes from these tires on this truck. I was surprised by the wet and snow performance that the Goodyear Wrangler all-terrains offered on the old F250. Is the only reason I kept them. I was surprised by a lot. I was surprised that they wore nicely. I was surprised that they rode relatively comfortably. I was surprised of the wet traction. I was surprised of the snow traction by far. I was definitely surprised about that. And I'm happy with the tire and its wear, but I hate the noise. There's a noise it's tire noise. I mean, there's no two ways about it. It's just tire noise. And I was thinking about going to those Michelins, because the one thing that those Michelins, they're all-season radials, they have exceptional wet capability as far as traveling in the wet. And the other thing that they do, which is really surprising, is they're pretty good in the snow. I mean, they are not bad in the snow at all. Again, I had two-wheel drive trucks, that 95 and the 97. Both of those were two-wheel drive trucks. My son, his van, of course, two-wheel drive, and he had no problem getting through the snow. So they were good tires. They're very, very good tires. So I was thinking about putting them on this truck, even though these have brand new ones. See, there's two sides to that. I could drive for so many thousand miles and then, and deal with maybe a little bit less gas mileage, because I'm sure, tires have a lot to do with gas mileage. I am sure those Michelins do better on gas than those all-terrains. I mean, it's just natural. The blocking's smaller on the Michelins. The tread is more forgiving on the Michelins. It's just a overall more of a highway tire. That's what it's designed for, all-season highway tire. The all-terrains, they've got another category they got to fit into, and that is rocks, sand, mud, of course snow, but dirt and off-road conditions. So they're not 100% designed for the highway. Well, if I stay on the highway the majority of the time, which most people do, of course your gas mileage will be better with a tire that's designed for that kind of driving compared to the all-terrain. So I could go with these tires and just run them for a period of time, and then, well, once they have their wear and I've rotated them and it's time to get into something different, at that point I could buy the Michelins. Or I could buy Michelins now and put them on that truck, and at that point these tires would be an easy sale on Craigslist. I mean, tires that have, 200 miles on them and they're brand new takeoffs essentially. Yeah, that's something that would be easy to sell and help pay for the Michelins that I would then have for, well, they're 70,000 mile tires, but you'd have them for a while, that's for sure. All right, enough about tires. Somebody asked me about my ladder the other day, and I've got to get it out, so I might as well mention that again. Yes, I still have it. It's back here. Yeah, I wish it was a little bit longer now because we have a taller RV. But yeah, this is the one we're going to take with us whenever we're out on the road because, it's a great size. It's a great ladder. But we still have it. I did a review on this a while ago. If I can remember to put the link in here somewhere, there's a video on it. If not, just go to my RV review video. You'll see a much skinnier version of me talking about this ladder. If you go check out that video, it's back when I decided to stay on my diet. Do a diet and stay on it. Okay, let me get this set up and put those bumps on, and then I'm not going to put the slide in today, but at some point I'll try out the slide and we'll see if it works, and I can mention it then. All right, so I went ahead and went with the square ones because there's more surface, contact surface, whenever that lip hits it. And again, whoever made this suggestion, I'm sure this will work just fine. Thank you very much. That's a great idea. They don't look bad. I'm sure they get dirty, but I got plenty of them and they're real cheap. Again, I'll put the link below for this. Get your assortment. Hell, you may have other reasons for this. I mean, these are kind of cool. These are the bump stops, actually, believe it or not, that the old cap needed. The cap windows. Isn't that funny? Well, I went ahead and put a couple decals on the RV there, and kind of making it our own since we're settling into it. Heidi and I was talking about maybe squeezing in a camping trip because the state parks are opening up, from what I can tell, May 17th. Ohio State Parks look like that May 17th they're going to open up. So we thought, sure, why not? Let's try West Branch like we always do. Let's try West Branch and see what we can get away with there as far as doing a reservation. Packed. We might be able to get 1 day or 2 days, like in the middle of the week or something, but we wanted 4 days, and we was trying to get the weekend, and you can't get 4 days in a row. Well, you know what, maybe we could if it was in the week, but Heidi don't like doing that necessarily. I was trying to do the weekend so she would have like her Thursday off and her Saturday off, or I'm sorry, her Sunday off. Oh, and good news too. Her surgery is scheduled for July, so fingers crossed on that everything still goes through on it. Of course, now so much time has elapsed, she has to go get another ultrasound done. It's just the way things are. At the last minute, I told Heidi, I said, well, even if the campground was open, which I'm sure there's a campground we could go to, I said, I haven't set up the hitch for this new truck. Get this, I love it. Yeah, the hitch on this new truck, even though this is a newer truck and it's a heavier truck, being an F350, versus that F250, the F350, the hitch height, I already just roughly measured in the driveway real quick, and it is definitely, at minimum, 3/4 of an inch lower than the F250 was. So it's something you got to play with. So that's what I've got to do with this one. I've got to now find, because this F350, I'm assuming, is going to squat a lot less because it has one more full leaf spring, and the truck's longer, another 12 inches longer. That makes it that much harder for that thing to lift the front of the truck because, you've got those front wheels and that engine another 12 inches further out than it was before with the old F250. So there's a lot of playing around. I gotta, I've been thinking about it, and I know for sure that the hitch height needs to be lowered. Like I say, probably about an inch. Good news is with ProPride, they give you a book and you write down all your dimensions in the book. And I thought, well, this is kind of, elementary. It reminded me of having a workbook from, grade school doing math problems. But I went ahead and filled out all those numbers to get an idea of what the hitch height was and, all that stuff. So I can easily, when I get this truck on level ground, I can easily find what that is. I can easily find what it should be set at. Or how much lower it needs to be. The angle, I'm going to have to play with that. I'm not sure about what's going to happen there, but it'll be all right. I can't wait to tow with it, and of course you guys get to see that. Man, am I rattling. Let's go to something else. All right, so time to work inside the truck and put the GPS mount back. It's one of the mounts definitely I need to have back in here. We use the GPS, and a lot of people asked in the past, and if you're new and you think the same thing that they did, because there was quite a few that said it, we use the Waze app when we're driving, and that goes through the Sync 3 display. It works really well. Tells you where the police are. You can report stuff in the road. People report, debris and stuff like tires and that in the road, and we've seen it, and we've seen reports, hey, something in the road ahead, and gives you a chance to slow down and really start looking. I mean, it does help. Okay, that's fine, but it will never ever replace, as of right now, it won't ever replace what a good GPS will do. So I'm going to talk about something that's controversial. I've said it in the past. Just get a good GPS, one that you feel comfortable with. Don't worry if it's RV or truck specific. The RV one might have points of interest or something that might be interesting to you. Go ahead and get it for that. What I don't want you to buy it for is, I can put in my weight, I can put in my width, I can put in my height, and the GPS will tell me exactly where to go. That's not going to work because the infrastructure of the U.S. is not reported fast enough, the changes that are made to bridges and roads in general for those GPSs to stay up to date. Not only that, but you got to make sure you update your GPS. Matter of fact, anybody that's watching this right now, if you've not updated your GPS in the last 3 months, go get it right now. Go out to your vehicle, take it out of the dash, pull it from underneath your seat, out of the glove box or whatever, come in and plug it in and go through the routine of updating it. For Garmin, it's relatively easy. Of course, they're updated free, all the, lifetime maps, but just do it because there's so many changes going on all the time. The problem, like I had mentioned in the past, just as an example, we have a bridge that's down here in Homeworth, and the bridge has a height of so many feet. I can't remember what it is, but there's always trucks hitting it. Not as many as there used to be, but there's still trucks that hit it. And that height isn't at the corners necessarily. It's an arched opening. So the corners, that's a different height. So you got to make sure that you go through, you're the only one. And you got to hope that's why I had on my old truck, I had a decal to show me what my corner heights were of my RV. So if I go through an arch that's kind of skinny, I know if it can fit or not without hitting the corners. Of course, just go slow if you're thinking about it. No big deal. Turn on your flashers, let everybody go around you, whatever it is. Have your passenger get out and guide you through. Make sure that it's going to clear. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying, the problem is I don't think they've changed that sign on the height of that bridge for some time. And because of it being a bridge and it's in a low area, and it's being in Northeast Ohio, the winter plays havoc with water that stands down at the underneath the bridge. The sun doesn't get to it to dry it out, so it freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws, and it just cracks up the concrete and does all kinds of stuff. So they've got to patch or repave that all the time, and every time they repave it, sometimes they don't take it all the way down to where it was. So they may take 1 inch off of the road, maybe 2 inches off the road, and they put 4 inches of concrete or asphalt. So you get an idea now. The height of the bridge is now 2 inches off, and that happens all over the country. The other thing I found with a lot of these RV specific GPSs is it'll route you off something. It just sends you on another, hey, you got to get off here, and then sends you down the road so far, and then tells you to get back on the highway you were at to get around a bridge that was modified, a year ago or 4 years ago. and now it can accommodate you. So I don't know. That's my own opinion. Again, buy whatever you're comfortable with. We have a really good GPS. It's, you know, we've had it for a while. Matter of fact, a new model's out, but it does have a camera on it. It has lane departure and you know, rear collision avoidance stuff and all that crap, but I don't have any of that turned on. But we do like it because it offers one thing that Waze does not offer right now, and that is split lane view. So as you're coming up to an intersection or a transition in the road, this one shows you a simulated photo of it and what lane you should be in. They also have real view, what they call real view or real world view or something like that of the off-ramps and the exits and what it should look like and where you should be at. I've gotten used to that. And I mean, if you're pulling a trailer behind you, it's kind of nice to know, hey, I need to be in, you know, instead of, hey, I got to get off of this exit, you have to get off of this exit and be in the second lane from the right. That's why I want the GPS back in here, because we'll most likely always have a GPS. And again, it's got a camera on it too, so it's always recording. So this is what it looks like before any work's done. And there's a rubber flap in here, rubber mat or whatever. I guess you're supposed to throw your phone up in here. Well, I wouldn't throw my phone in here, not in the sunlight, but oh well, people do. You can see that just comes out. And then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill 4 holes here and put the mount, put the GPS mount. It's just a steel bracket, and I've already got my GPS, of course, mounted on it. I could drill through this. That's what I did last time. I drilled through this and into you know, the area, and they give you washers and nuts, but it's real simple to do. Most of this dash stuff, believe it or not, it's changed over the years. It just pops apart. So what I need to do is get underneath here and lift the speaker cover off. There's 2, I think they're 7 millimeters I got to take out back there. And then I'll take the tool and I'll go ahead and pry the rest of this out, pop this off, unplug the speaker, and then take it in the garage and go ahead and measure it all out, and then drill the holes. Like I said, I'll drill through this flap also, so there's, you know, something rubber there, I guess, to, you know, it's not going to hurt it to have 4 holes in it. And then yeah, we'll come back in and snap it back in, show you what it looks like. Yeah, there's the mount, and it's solid. It's nice. That mount is from a Garmin Nuvi 660, and that was something we bought back in 2007. So the mount has definitely got itself wore out. That's what that roll bar padding there is for. It helps the GPS from, when I hit bumps, you know, it's starting to point to the sky. Now you're going to hear me say something that I don't normally say, and it occasionally happens. Sometimes more than often I kind of may skip over it, but yeah, Ford really screwed up on something here. You know, everybody's got their favorite vehicles, but usually for the most part, every flaw I can find on a Ford, I can find with another vehicle. And some of them I don't like as far as their flaws, more than I don't like the Ford flaws. But let me tell you about this flaw that has been going on since 2017 for sure. And 2019 was not a good year for it. And I got to get out my good tools. Yeah. So I shot a video on this with the old truck, and yeah, this is how you put the seat down. You just pull that little thing there and the seat goes down. See that? Pretty cool, huh? As far as getting to back here, you got to have the seat up, gives you more room, but there's a strap down here that you have to pull to release this back to let the whole thing come down, and that strap is nowhere to be found. On my old one, it was sitting on the floor because it had fallen down after assembly or during assembly or whatever, and they fall off really easy. Well, this one, I don't even see it. Heidi's brother in his 2019 F-150, his strap was laying on the floor down here too. And I keep stuff behind the seat. There's some room back there, which we'll see if I can get it down. But the thing is you got to reach down here. I can feel the buckle that you got to get to. I'm going to go ahead and try to show you guys this, but there's a lever here that you have to pull. And in this case, I don't even feel the lever at all. I don't know what they did here. This is crazy, though. I don't know why in the world they make it so difficult. Yeah, I can't even see what you guys are seeing, if anything. And there's supposed to be a little, like, diamond or something here that you pull to release all this back. So I'm going to have to go to two hands here and see if I can make this release happen. Okay, now that I've got that unhooked and I'm holding the seat forward, I'm going to pull this strap again, and that'll move everything down. And look at all that storage back there. I know it's just like RVs, you know, we try to find every bit of storage we can, but look, there's not even a strap back here. At least on the old ones, on the 19, the strap was laying down. You know? So anyways, this is the problem right here. You can see the release, and in this case, hell, they didn't even put a strap on it because they didn't even put a diamond on it or anything. Wonder why they do that. That's crazy. Hopefully this fix will work that I have, because that was for the 2019. I got a couple Torx fittings here. Let me show you what I got. I don't know how well this is going to work out as far as your view and that. Sun's kind of hitting you weird, but this is the best angle I can get. You're going to shake a little because that's the headrest for the seat. So what you got to do is you got to pull off these two screws. Not a big deal. It's just a T27. Like I said, it's going to shake you guys. You're going to be shaking. It's like Eddie Money. And then this is the bracket here. Of course, I've got a review video already on this, I believe, but I'll put the links down below for this. It does have some sort of a keeper on there, so I don't think that I have to drill a hole, but there's the bracket that goes over that post right there. So what you got to do is kind of, well, remove the T screws. And then this piece here, it does a couple things. It goes underneath. It goes underneath, and oh, I don't know how to describe it. There we go. Yeah, let's do it this way. Basically, it goes like this. You can see the bracket's got to go on one side, and it's got to go on top on one side, and on the other side it's a little bit different. And of course you want to position this to where it's at the right angle. Go ahead and we'll snap that on there, and it'll keep it on then for the most part. It won't fall off, and that was the problem with the other ones. Now there is a catch on here. You got to make sure that you put that tang back in its slot. But yeah, I can't stand that's been going on now for as many years as it has. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's dumb. I'm talking dumb, not a little dumb. It's just dumb. Why don't they just put something like this on here? I mean, it wouldn't be nothing for them to fabricate that with the bracket. All right, you guys are gonna shake again, so let me see if I can hold you. Get this one in. Yep. And boom. All right, so now you can see that's what it is, and the strap's up here, so we can release it. So this is what I was saying that should have been before. It's a little bit on the hard side. I might have to adjust that. Let me see. Nah, I guess you just got to slam it. Well, I'd like for that catch to be a little bit less harsh than that. That's just from this adjustment here. Let's move that up just a little. Let's see if that works. Maybe it's too high. Oh no, that's the right way. All right. Yeah, that's about right. So, yeah, much better, right? I mean, that's crazy though, that you got to put a bracket on there for this. So there's two things that Ford, I think, kind of missed the ball on. So I'll again, you very rarely hear me say, oh, Ford, you really screwed up. That there, they screwed up. That's 100% screw up. This up here, probably be just a good idea to have some sort of GPS mount instead of just the dash. Because if you look, other than over there, I mean, the problem is with the dash and putting GPS mounts, especially over there, is airbag situations. So I wish they would have put some sort of place to do a GPS mount. The other thing is, with the aluminum body, I wish they would have put a couple of points up on top of the roof that just had metal, even if it just stuck to the roof. But again, all these people are making stuff, so good for them. They're making stuff that goes in here to fix these problems. Okay, I found something else to do. De-winterize the RV. Alright guys, so we got a ton of noise, but I wanted to show you this. What I have hooked up right now is just a regular garden hose that we have at the house, but it's connected to a softened water source out of our basement. I'm filming this with a phone because I didn't think I was going to be able to get any of these in, because we have a mower that's mowing right next door and we have a dog that's barking back there. So the dog quit barking, the mower's up front, so we'll try this. So basically what I'm going to do is I'll test the water out of the hose right here, then I'll go ahead and cycle this portable water softener, and when I cycle the portable water softener, after about 6 minutes, then I'll test the water there. This isn't scientific, but I do have a tester. And then after I do that, I'll go ahead and hook it up to the RV, and I'm going to put the water in the RV. I don't have a filter in here, even though I have a filter to go in there. I want to make sure that I've got everything cycled through and cleaned out as much as possible. So let's go ahead and get back to this. We'll test that water first, and then we'll go ahead and cycle the softener. And all I'm doing is just letting it run at a real low rate for about 7 minutes, just to trickle basically down the side, a little bit more than we'll go ahead and start the flow through the water softener now. And it's probably going to take a little bit. Of course, the softener has to fill up first, because nothing's in there but resin. But this is going to be interesting. I'm really happy that we got it. I think this is the perfect size, because the park model, which would be nice because of how long it lasted before you have to, you know, rejuvenate it or backflush it or anything like that. You rejuvenate this one a few times before you have to backflush it, but nonetheless, before you have to do anything, they say this one can do 1,500 gallons of water. Well, our tank's 60, so you can imagine how many times it goes through 60 gallons. Okay, so just a little bit more water than that needs to be coming out. Just about a little bit more. I think right about there. That looks about right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do this for a solid, well, it says 4 to 7 minutes or something like that. We'll just go 7 just to play it safe, and let this thing, you know, let it all settle down. You know, it was shipped to me full of resin, and at the time that I shipped all the resin, or that it was shipped here, you know, it was laying on its side, it was upside down, so there's all kinds of things that could have happened. But we'll go ahead and let this thing, you know, I just bumped it on the ground a few times to make sure that the resin is at the bottom of the tank or in the tank a little bit further. We'll go ahead and let this run for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do this. This is direct from the house. Again, we have softened water, but we're going to compare it to the test, the litmus test that they actually give me this time, and see how it rates. I'm colorblind, but I can see shades, so hopefully I'll be able to match this up. I'm thinking this is going to be really dark, so 1, 2, 3, remove it, and then compare it. You can see it's closer to probably that one, 160. Is that what you guys see too? 120, I mean. Yeah, I'm thinking 120, maybe 80. I don't think we're that dark. I think we're right around 80 to 120, somewhere in there. So that's what the house water is when it's softened with our softener. Let's see if this one makes any difference. I don't know if it will or not, but we'll try it out here. Let's go ahead and turn it on. You got to give it a full flush for a little bit here. Okay, now we'll go ahead and fill this thing up, and I'll dump it, and then we'll fill it again just to make sure all the other water's out of there. All right, there's that. And we'll turn that off. So you grab the test strip here, and kind of working around all this stuff. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. I don't know what color that is, but it definitely looks lighter. It looks like it's 0. I don't know if that's even possible. Yeah, that looks 0. I mean, I guess it could be 2. Maybe 5. So, I don't know. That's hard to tell. It looks a little lighter though. I mean, if you put them side by side, you can see that it is a little lighter. All right, so we'll go with that. All right, so I went ahead and put the filter in. Man, the wind kicked up. Put the filter inside here, you can see. And the pump's running, and that's because it's filling up the hot water tank. And the reason it's filling up the hot water tank is because I put the new anode rod in there. You know how I feel about that, guys. I've been watching me for a little bit. I don't like those anode rods. I'd much rather have myself a aluminum tank. Heidi won't let me buy one. That spider's not going to get away so easy. Yeah, Heidi won't let me buy one. I asked her and she said nope. So basically what I'm doing here is boing, plan. I flushed this out really good last year. You could still see what came out just a few minutes ago. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that there's so much debris in there, and I'd never ever seen that much debris in our old Atwood. I think that's what it was, an Atwood. Pretty sure this is a Suburban. I should look here. I'm sure I can find it somewhere. Talks about danger burn. There we go. Yeah, this is a Suburban. And the Atwood had an aluminum tank on our old one. It was original. It's from 1992. Never had an issue. Every year I'd flush it out, and I didn't get 1/3 the debris that came out of this thing from last year. When you fill these tanks, if you don't know, go ahead and open your vent so you know all the air is out of the tank, which that also tests your safety. Now that I know all the air is out of the tank, I know that it would be safe, if I wanted to at this point, to turn it on to the electric element. We'll go ahead and let that go for a while. I'll check for leaks a little later. In the meantime, the tank is just being filled by our house, and the parts per million, I don't know, they dropped. I guess hardness of water and compare it to drinking water, it's two different things. Let's see what the tanks say, which I think is a joke, but it says it's the 3rd full. That's probably right. Shouldn't be any in the black, none in the gray. So at least that's good. I know the battery's good. It's been hooked up. I left it out all winter long, guys. So what do we think about this water softener? Well, I think it's going to take all season long to find out how bad that anode rod looks. Basically, the setup that I have now has got softened water from our house, which isn't terrible, but it's not great. And it's going through, of course, the softener, and then the filter, and then into the RV. And then from that point, it goes through this filter, and then in and through the whole system, including the hot water tank. So yeah, we'll just find out. We'll see how it works. I'll give you guys the lowdown on it later, but we're back in business. Got a little bit of hammering going on here, so I got to figure out. It's just touching that panel. I mentioned that before. I don't understand why they routed the wires the way they did, or the hoses I should say, because they definitely hit this panel. It's like a drum if you don't have it just right. There's that, and we'll go ahead and do the hot now. Yeah, I figured there's a little bit. I'll have to go through and do all the hot switches now. So, we'll see how this works. If this has piqued your interest just from what you've seen, I don't know. I didn't really see that much of a drop, but I don't know what that equates to. So, I'll have the link on this down below. If you guys were thinking about it, I like this one for a lot of reasons. First of all, it got shipped here in no time. It was like 2 days or 3 days. And I like this, the big lip opening. It's real easy to pour in your salt when you have to rejuvenate it. And the way they have it set up, the way they say you should do it is when it's time to flip this thing, or to rejuvenate it with salt, you take it takes two full 49-cent salt containers, round salt containers. But anyways, you basically turn this upside down, you know, with no hoses hooked to it. You turn it upside down, you let the water drain out of it, you then turn it back upright, you bounce it on the ground, not hard, just a little bit, to try to get the resin back down a little bit further in the tank. Then you open the top and you pour in all that salt that I just said. Then make sure none of it is in the threads or the seals or anything, and then you put this big lid back on again. And then once that lid is back on, you hook up your water source and you let it run out like I just showed at the beginning here, that little trickle. You let that run for, I think it's 30 minutes that way. And that, at that point, should have rejuvenated it. Then you turn it on full blast for so many seconds or a minute or something like that. Maybe it's a little bit longer. I can't remember exactly because I haven't done it yet. But then it's ready to go. And then after so many times of you doing that, you have to do a backflush, you know, which is basically hooking up the hoses in reverse, and there's some other steps there. But all right, I think that might be it. So tell me, guys, is this something that you might want to do? Something you might want to try? I'll give you feedback on it. We'll find out what happens a little bit later. All right, so I just tried out that softener. As you guys just seen, going to the other camera now. Heavy, I have to say that. It's not light. I don't know what it weighs. I'm guessing in the 35-pound, 40-pound range, maybe. Seems about right. So now that I've got a lot of this stuff done, I need to put the awning in. The wind is picking up, and I need to try out the hot water. Don't know why we're in the dark. The water still look pink. Could be. I don't know. Guess that's one of the benefits of being colorblind. Doesn't look like it in the sink, but there might be a tinge that I don't see. Heidi hates when I spray this all over. That's why I had it down in the sink. Okay, I hear it trying to ignite. Doesn't sound like that it ignited. I always wondered what would happen if we try to light this with the glass down. Woo! Yeah, get it. you know, fill this all with gas and then hit the igniter. I bet you that would do some wild stuff. Turn on the gas. I know we're not out of propane. Let's look into this a little bit more. First of all, let's turn that off. And now I gotta listen and smell for propane here. I don't smell anything. Shoot. I can't believe that we'd be out unless somebody turned it off. That could be. I did go get it filled. That's why I know we're not out. Let's see, which way is it pointed? Okay, it's pointed to this tank here, and that tank was turned off. Oh, that's funny. Well, they're both turned off. Oh, wonder how long it's going to take me to figure that out, huh? Alright, we'll give it a few minutes to get into the system here. Everybody decided to mow their lawn today. That's nice. You know, motorcycles have been on my mind again. Motorcycles, scooters, and mopeds, always this time of year. Other than the wind, it was always the best time to ride. In the summer, it gets a little hot sometimes, even for me, where you need to keep moving. All right, let's go ahead and try this again. Okay, I hear gas now. There's probably a lot of air in the line being pushed through, but I can definitely hear it. Yep, I'm starting to smell it. I don't think this igniter's working on the front, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I don't think the igniter's working. Darn it. Are you kidding me? Oh, I was going to say. It's one, what it is it's one igniter, it's one igniting system, one igniting unit, I should say. Yeah, it's not too hot. And then there's electrodes that run from it. So it basically sparks all of them at the same time. How about this? Is crazy. Okay, let's go back to the hot water tank. Go out here and listen. Always when you're doing stuff like this, stand off to the side, just in case. There it is. It ignited up. Now somebody had mentioned, talking about this hot water tank, I was running it off the electric to heat up the water, and the guy said something that it was legitimate. It was a good suggestion. It's just I have a better way, I think, personally, of doing it. What he said was you should run the propane to heat up your water. It gets hotter faster. Well, he's right. The burner that is on the propane will heat that water so much more efficiently than that electrode will. You know, it's just a loop, and it basically just shorts out the electricity and causes that thing to get hot and heat up all the water around it. So the deal is, there's nothing that says you can't run both the propane and the electric at the same time, which will make it faster, which will make it heat up faster. And that's basically what he was saying, was, hey, you know, you can run your propane, it'll heat up faster, or you can run your propane and your electric together and it'll heat up even faster. And he's right. Here's the thing. Almost all of us, I think, do the same thing when we get to the campgrounds. This is a campground. This is what I'm talking about on camping. Because you got to figure, if you're plugged in, you're most likely at the campground. I'm not ready to take a shower right then, so I don't care how long it takes. I do care how much propane I use. I've already paid the campground to use their electricity, so why wouldn't I just run it on the electric to heat it up? And it may be slower, but I'm not going to be taking a shower for quite some time. So there's no sense in rushing. Now, if it's late at night, I get in late, I want to take a shower right away, of course. Turn on the electric and the propane. But something for you guys to think about. When you pay for the campground, you know, try to, first of all, pick a campground that you're actually going to use the amenities there, because they're going to charge you for them regardless. And secondly, use the amenities. Use them, you know, effectively. So if you're paying for electric, you know, 30 amp, use the 30 amp when you can. You know, don't run your refrigerator on propane. Don't run your hot water tank on propane. You know, if you've got electric for those, run them on electric. That's what you paid for. That's all I got to say about that. Hello, YouTube. It's a beautiful day out, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's awesome. Heidi's doing...
You should be getting a suntan.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about that.
We're too old for that
Yeah.
shit.
Well, I don't think I'd be doing the suntan thing. The bugs are out. Holy cow. Never seen so many insects in such a short time. We had like a few that I seen yesterday, but today just bam. So Heidi's doing this. Is Heidi having fun? Yeah,
I'm just being busy.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to sit. There's a lot of things to do.
Yeah, I started some of that
We need
today.
I don't know. We need to have room to put stuff. We need to get Bud's van fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, Bud needs to get his van fixed.
Yeah, right.
With our help. With
Yeah.
his dad's help mostly.
Yeah.
Even though he don't want to.
So you guys, we talked about the water pump and everything. I got the water pump off today. I had to cut it off. I had to grind it off. I had to hammer it off. I had to chisel it off. And I had to pry it off. I did all those things. And it's just like I thought. The bolts, unfortunately, they're seized. They go all the way into the block. And I would believe that they probably would be okay to come out of the block. But the problem is... the timing cover is seized on just as much as the water pump was.
It just keeps getting better.
Yeah. So, we got some thinking to do and talking with him and see what he wants to do. But in the meantime, let's look outside. So the deal is in Ohio is when the weather finally breaks and gets warm, everybody acts like it's summer. I mean, there is a person right there in that Jeep. I know you probably can't see him. They have their doors off, they have shorts on, they have their leg hanging out, they have, looks like sun's out, guns out shirts on, and their sunroof open. And motorcycles, so many of them. And today's weather, okay guys, for you guys that live in the South, how warm do you think it is for everybody to act like this? When we all have a stay-at-home order, or what they call a safe-at-home order, look at all these people still. And what's the weather? What do you believe the temperature is that gets everybody to act this way? 75. Yeah, that's it. And I'll tell you why everybody's going crazy about this 75. Because tomorrow and for the next 10 days, our highest temperature's going to be 58. Tomorrow's going to be 53 or 4. So it's going to be, yeah, 54. It's going to be 22 degrees colder than it currently is for the high tomorrow. So this is why everybody's enjoying themselves and doing all this stuff. You know, I was out here working. I can't blame them. But I mean, there is like I said, there's a stay-at-home order. There's you know, you're not supposed to go out unless it's for essential reasons. And I can't for the life of me think of taking all that stuff off my Jeep and driving around. But you know, to go out and make a drive, I understand. As long as they don't stop somewhere. Same with the motorcycle, as long as they don't stop anywhere. Hey YouTube, welcome to RV Daydream. What you doing? Just yesterday, Heidi and I finished out that nice warm day. We are definitely cooler. It looks nice outside, but with the wind, it's a little chilly. Our high temperature today is 22 degrees colder than our high temperature yesterday. 22 degrees. Yeah, that's a little bit of a shock. The good news is we're still talking in the 50s. So yeah, I don't like it whenever we get these fluctuations in the winter when we drop to 0 or real low to 0. So let me run out here and show you what I have planned for today, just to keep you guys up to date with what you're doing, you know, what we're doing. And yeah, it's still the cap. So Heidi just dropped off the truck because we thought our appointment was on Tuesday at 2, and here it's Monday at 2. And she forgot to leave her keys for her little car, so I couldn't run up and get the truck, so she brought it home. Why are we going to the dealer? Well, you guys know the cap saga. In this case, this is kind of Lear's fault. But I am making the changes myself, and what we got to do is change the way these windows are in the back. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. Whenever I had all those problems with my other cap, they said, listen, we're going to send you a new cap. Lear did. We're going to send you a new cap. I said, listen, if you're going to send me a new cap, I had so much problems with that one piece glass that went down the whole side. Is there any way I can just get a lesser model? And they said, yeah, we can arrange that. I said, great. I said, how about we get one that don't have any windows in the side? I just want a solid piece of fiberglass in there, which they make. And she said, problem is that's a 100XR model. And she says the 100XR model has a different back door. Well, I really like these back doors due to this opening up here, because when it's raining real hard, or this is all wet, when you lift it, it all runs down the glass and into this area up here, and then down the sides, and for the most part out of the truck. You know, it doesn't go in the bed. And you can kind of see, even though the wind is really wicked today, you can kind of see here, look at the angle that we're at. There'd be a lot of water running in from this area here. Well, unfortunately, that 100XR has that old style window, that old style hinge that's up top here. So I said, well, we're gonna have to rule out that. What we're gonna have to do instead, we're gonna have to go with a 100XL model. That's this one. And I said, the only thing I have to ask about, I said, other than, you know, this piece being a big fixed piece of glass, which I love, you know, I'm sure it still could shatter like the old one, but the old one was just subject to so much vibration. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but look how I push here. See how it flexes and moves? It's because there's a seal behind there. You know, it's got a seal. Whenever it's opening and closing, there's got to be a rubber seal there to keep it sealed off when it's closed. The good news is this is a fixed piece of seal. It's not a bulb seal. It's more of a permanent fix. It's kind of like using, you know, some sort of butyl tape versus a rubber seal. So that's what this is. And I wanted that because it's much more solid, and the chances of that coming loose or vibrating is a lot less than what the old one piece was. So it was definitely decided that if I was to get glass in the truck, I wanted the window that looked like this. So then our attention came to the back door, and I told her, the person I was dealing with at Lear, I said, listen, are the back doors the same? She goes, they're identical. She goes, the XR is the only one that has a different back door, and she says that's why you didn't want the solid fiberglass, because the back door is the old style. It's an old style, it's a much lesser model, and if I open it up, of course the water would run in. I said, great, go ahead and send me the 100XL model, and that's what I got. So they installed the 100XL, and as soon as I got out to check it out at the dealer to pick it up, I thought, this looks funny. I don't remember seeing this like being tucked in here, and I don't know if you can kind of tell, but see how the lip doesn't match? And I was thinking, I don't remember that on the old one. I mean, I didn't think anything about it, and I even opened it up and looked inside and tried out the lights and everything, and still something didn't look right. And then that's whenever I realized, once I got home, this is some sort of a real thick hood shield material. That's the other difference between the 100XQ and the 100XL, as far as other than side windows. It's this piece here. The glass is the same, the hinges are the same, the third brake light's the same, the mounting's the same, everything's the same except for this. And this is a cheap, flimsy, I don't like the way this looks or feels. The other one was a real nice thick fiberglass that was molded, and I mean, it looked really nice. So at that point I called the dealer and I said, hey, you still got my old cap there? They said, yeah. And I said, is there any chance I can pay you to swap out the rear windows? And they said, as long as they're the same, have no problem whatsoever. So that's what I'm going to go do today. Yeah, that whole story, because of this. I will go through the trouble. This is the kind of picky that I am. And that's I just don't like it. It just don't feel right. And Heidi uses this to close the window. She reaches up and grabs what used to be that solid piece of fiberglass. It flexed, but not like this, to close this hatch. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to be going over there and getting that switched out. Yeah, it looks like winter skies now. It definitely looks like fall moving in. It's got a pretty good chill in the air. This isn't warm enough to really be considered spring, I'll tell you. The RV, as you saw already, I had Heidi walk through there. She checked all the water and everything. She said everything seems to be perfect. I'm really happy with the RV for the most part as far as the de-winterizing. However, the plumbing on this thing, I'll tell you that there's one option on the RV that I don't think I would have gotten if I knew that the plumbing was so goofy on it. Here we are in the shower. Well, not really, but so what am I looking at here? I'm looking at basically the standard shower faucet with one addition, and that's this here. And this is probably a little confusing as far as looking at it if you don't have one and what it does. And there's one nice feature about it that I really like, but even that feature has sort of a downfall. The other feature that it was designed for doesn't make much sense to me. Now, I could get rid of it for the most part. However, I wanted to talk about, you know, what it is first and why I'm still keeping it on. All right. The shower miser. What the shower miser is designed to do is recycle fresh water back into your holding tank as you're taking a shower if you're not needing the shower on at that point. So we all know how to do, for the most part, what they call a Navy bath, or I'm not going to say a horse bath. That's something entirely different. But basically a Navy wash, a Navy bath. It's basically you guys, and me too, of course, trying to save water by soaking yourself down from head to toe, and then shutting off the water. Usually it's done with a, a thing up here. I always install one of these because I don't like the water that dribbles out. So we have our own shut-off that we buy. If I can find the link, I'll put that in the description. It's a real nice brass piece or solid piece. It's good quality, and I love it. We had it on our old RV, and of course we got it on this RV too. So there's a reason that the water dribbles out, by the way, guys. Just to let you know, I'm going to definitely get on some side tangents here, so bear with me. Whenever you're running your system, your water pump and the hot water tank and the whole thing in the shower, whenever you flip this switch on the shower head, you know how it's still dribble, 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 dribble? That's not a bad faucet. That's a safety thing. And their belief is that that water dribbling out doesn't allow the hot water or the cold water to run at a different flow. And that different flow causing scalding things happening to you. So basically it allows the water to come out at a slower rate, and it's still hot and cold mixed the exact same way that you have it set. But I've never liked that function, because all I do is, instead of having it dribbling the whole time, just hearing it in general, I just, whenever I turn the shower head back on, I just make sure I point it somewhere else before I flip it back on. That's all. Or if it's up in the holder, I make sure that I step kind of out of the way, and or point it out of the way, and then turn it on. And if it's extreme hot water, I'll let that run just for a couple. It's just brief. It's just a couple seconds, and then it'll go back to my mixed temperature, whatever I have it set at. All right. So getting back to running your shower, whenever you're going to shut this off to lather up, the idea is that you're saving water. Well, they know that people are trying to save every bit of water that they have in their tank, so what they did was install this shower miser. Now, you've seen on other videos and on other channels, people talk about when you're boondocking, when you first start up your shower and you're adjusting the temperature of your shower, to get a pitcher of water, or a pitcher I should say, it becomes a pitcher of water, but get a pitcher or a small bucket, and as you're adjusting the temperature of the water, make sure that it's spraying into the pitcher or the bucket. You know, it might be something you set on the floor. Then you set that off to the side, and at some point during the day, you use it to flush your toilet. And that's a very effective way to use the water. So what a lot of manufacturers are trying to do is come up with a way to do just that without using the pitcher of water. And what they do is when you turn on your hot water, you know, it takes a while for the hot water to get up to the shower. That's basically what your problem is. You got to wait till the hot water gets up here before you start adjusting the cold water in, or vice versa, have the cold water running and adjust the hot water to get it to the point where you want it to be. So what they tell you to do is flip this lever. If you flip this lever and you turn on the hot water, you can watch this plastic change color. When you see this plastic change color, there's different gradients of color. Basically, you can see it's really dark now. Well, the lighter color it gets means the hotter that plastic is. So whenever you get to a color that you think is okay at that point, you can then flip this lever down, turn on your cold water to the point where then the water that's coming out of the shower head is the perfect temperature. And you didn't waste any water to get this that hot, because it recycles that fresh hot water right back into the freshwater holding tank. All right, so here's where I have a problem with that and why I don't use it. It's still using the hot water out of the hot water tank. So the problem lies with the fact that the hot water tank is only so many gallons. Like in our case, it's 6. Maybe you have a big one and you have a 10 gallon, but most of them are 6 gallons. Now, we never really run out of hot water, but I made the mistake of using that shower miser whenever I was taking a shower, instead of using these cutoff switches and just having the water cycle into the freshwater tank, because I thought, why not just flip that lever, know that all the water is being diverted back to the hot water tank or to the freshwater tank, and I'm saving water. The problem is I was putting the hot water into the freshwater tank. Now, I don't care if the water in the freshwater tank's warm or even hot. I just don't like the fact that I spent the time and the propane or the electricity or whatever to heat up my hot water tank in the first place and get it filled with hot water, only to allow it to go into the freshwater tank. So now that 6-gallon tank, whenever I flip the lever back and I'm ready to rinse off, it lost all that hot water that was running back to the freshwater tank. So you definitely can't use it that way. But as far as getting your shower warm, you know, and making sure that the warm water is used exactly like I said, and that way only, that's not too bad. You just, you know, I don't know. I don't think that really we have to run it for an over long period of time to get the water hot in here. So I don't know if it really makes a difference. We still use it occasionally, but the extra plumbing that's involved, I mean, that's all potential leaks at that point. Now I have hot water leaving here, going through a tube, through a hose, all the way down to my freshwater tank. And not only that, but that will also cause the pump to potentially, like in our case yesterday, or day before yesterday, to pull up some antifreeze, because that's the other thing. You've got to also winterize that plumbing. You got to remember to winterize your shower miser, because it's got water in it. A lot of people don't think about that. So I had winterized the shower miser, which is nothing more than this valve, and then the plumbing that goes all the way back to the freshwater tank. So whenever I had to de-winterize, unfortunately my freshwater tank got some antifreeze in there, and I avoid that like the plague, because that antifreeze has a tendency just to stay in there. If you guys know, if you put just a little bit of the RV antifreeze in your hot water or your freshwater tank, it just has a tendency to stay in there, and it's like for the next 5 showers, you always have a little tinge of smell of antifreeze. Now, don't get me wrong. At that level, it's going to, you know, not hurt your skin or anything, but still, it's antifreeze. I'm sure there's, you know, it's not good. I don't hear everybody bathing for health in antifreeze, even RV antifreeze, even biodegradable RV antifreeze. So another good feature that I do like about this, and we do use, is if your water tank, your freshwater tank, is empty and you need to fill it, and you're stopping somewhere for the night, and you're hooked up to a fresh water source. So I'm trying to give an example here. Let's say that you're traveling with only minimal water in your water tank, which most of us should. You don't want a lot of water in your water tank when you're driving. I mean, you're pulling extra weight. But if you're in a situation where you stop for the night, you know, maybe it's Walmart or whatever, you might want to take a shower. Sure, I've showered in Walmart plenty of times. You can't tell, nobody knows. And that's what these things are designed for. But you don't want to be traveling around with, you know, 40 gallons of water necessarily in your RV. That's just extra weight that you're towing. And it may make the towing characteristics of your trailer kind of, you know, not so good. However, most RVs, the freshwater tank is forward of the axle. So if anything, it just adds extra tongue weight, which isn't a bad thing. Less tongue weight could, though. So let's say we stopped for the night, and we knew we were stopping at a campground because we needed to dump our tanks. We wanted to get fresh water, and we wanted to take showers and everything. And we knew that for the next day, maybe the next 2 days, we wouldn't have access to water. Well, when we're at the campground, we don't have to fill up our freshwater tank separately. We could, but we don't have to. All we got to do is just hook up the hose to the RV, to the city water hookup, use our water just like we would, you know, for the day or the night that we're there. And then before we leave the next morning, all I got to do is just turn on the cold water like that and flip the lever, and it will recycle whatever's coming in through the city water hookup right into the freshwater tank. And you can fill your freshwater tank that way. So I kind of like that feature. I mean, I do like that feature that I'm not standing out there filling my freshwater tank through the fill-up, you know, tube. But other than that, I don't know. I don't like the winterization process. I think if you're full-time on the road, it wouldn't make a difference. And I'll have to say that we do use the shower miser occasionally just for the reasons that I said. And that is turning on the hot water, flipping the miser on, and watching until this plastic turns white. We know it's hot at that point. And then we can turn on the cold and flip this down, and the water will be at temperature. Alright guys, we're back from the cap store. I got my phone to do the update, but look at the difference in this one. Of course, I got to redo the latch. I knew the latches would be off a little bit, but look at this. Look at how much more firm this is. Look at how it lines up over here. I mean, it's just so much better all the way around. Yeah, see, this is all nice, hard fiberglass. I don't know if I can reach. Yeah, I mean, this is substantial right here. Much, much better than what was going on there before. So, yeah, I'm surprised. I got to make sure the power door lock works okay, which I'm sure it will. Let's just listen for it. Yeah, that loud click is this one up here. So I do need to adjust the latch. Looks like it needs to go in just a little bit to make it just slightly tighter. Well, actually, it's pretty good. There's not a. I mean, you could tell it's further up here. So, yeah, let me just draw. I'll draw it in just a little bit more on this side to get it a little bit tighter. Maybe have to loosen it up a little bit on this side to give it a little bit more give on the other. But yeah, look, I mean, come on. Why would they have done that? Why would the other one be so bad? Anyways, it's fixed. That's all that matters. I told you guys I was picky. You didn't believe me, huh? Oh no, you guys believe me. That's one of the things that is funny whenever we did that video some time ago that I said 36 dislikes about our RV. I had so many people just give me crap about, why'd you buy it? You know, you had plenty of time to look at it. You know, why did you make this? I'm telling you that out of all the stuff that I look at when we're buying RVs, when we were shopping for RVs, this one is our favorite. This is the one that we loved, and we still love it. I love this thing for a lot of different reasons, but there always are going to be dislikes when you're really picky. That's all there's to it. Am I happy overall? Absolutely. Am I really, really excited to get this thing and put it in use? Absolutely. Do I think this is the right RV for us? Right now, absolutely. Don't read into that. Right now, absolutely. You know, things change. You got to remember that things change all the time, and you've got different likes, different preferences, and you just have different ideas that go on. And sometimes, you know, don't be afraid to say it. There's nothing wrong with human nature. Sometimes you just want something new. Sometimes you just want something different. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And I'll be honest with you, I think Heidi taught that to me more than anything else. When we first started dating and we started hanging out, I had my favorite restaurants, and I'm telling you, I would go to the same restaurant and buy the exact same thing every single time. That's just the way I was. It worked. I liked it. Why change? And Heidi, she introduced me to a whole new world of maybe we should try this today. Let's go to this restaurant. Hey, let's try this place out. And oh, I know this is your favorite, toothpaste, but here, I bought this instead. Hey, I buy our shampoo and our shower is never the same. Our shampoo is always different. She's always buying different shampoos. Whatever is either on sale, or she just liked the way it looked, or the bottle, whatever. She just tries stuff out. She just likes to try different things out. And that kind of got me to do the same thing. When I first met her, I had basically the same car for I don't know how many years. And, I had other cars also, but I had one that was my favorite that I drove all the time. That was my car. Winter, rain, didn't make a difference. That's the car I drove all the time. And she got me to the point where I was switching out a lot of stuff and changing a lot of stuff. I thought, you know what? Maybe I should experiment and go into a different vehicle, try to drive it for a while and see what I think. And, yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. Maybe that's why we have a new truck in the driveway. There's a couple things that I wanted on it, and that's why we have it. But yeah, I don't think that should be something that you guys should be embarrassed about on any level. I know I'm not. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm tired of my old car, I want to trade it in, or I realize I just got this, but I want something different. You got to experience. You got to experience stuff. I mean, that's why we want to travel anyways. If not, we'd all stay in the same house, same neighborhood for the next 50 years until we die. That's just one of those things. All right, that's my philosophy in life.